Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah yadha'afa ma hamidahu jami'u khalqihi kama yuhibbuhu wa yardah. Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. Wa na'udhu billahi min hali ahlin nar. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad كلما ذكره الذاكرون وصل على سيدنا محمد كلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عدد ما في علم الله صلاة دائمة بدوام ملك الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح اللهم اجعلنا دعاة إليك وإلى رسولك. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Subhan, help him out. Just in a class here, help him out. Yeah. Give him one for now. All right. Ya Allah. Islam is called the deen of fitra. It's nature. It's natural. It's not. It's about being natural. It's about being natural. Okay. Muhammad Colombiano, your partners and them. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We started the Masnawi, which is the masterpiece of Rumi. The book is, that masterpiece comprises over 25,000 verses. So the story that we started 2 or 3 days ago about the Jewish king and the Christians, when I thought it was over, it's far from over. The story has now started. It goes on and on for another maybe 9-10 pages. And you know how the wording is. Each line is so deep. So when I looked at it and I looked at the other stories, I realized that the 6 volumes that I have with me, these 6 volumes are like the 9 or 10 volumes of the ancient Tafsir Ibn Kathir. But now in this modern time, it was brought down to 4 volumes called the Muqtasar of Ibn Kathir. So I still want to do the Masnawi, but if I continue with that and then with a difficult language and each line is so deep, we might just get about 2 or 3 stories in for the month. So I'm still doing the Masnawi, but I'm doing the Ma'arif Masnawi. The Ma'arif and by doing so, we will be thinking and remembering a very pious saint and a wali who was amongst us and who had left us, and who had recommended that if we can just every morning recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad 3 times and ask Allah to send the blessings for him, he would be so happy for that. So this Ma'arif Masnawi is a commentary, and a commentary is really needed, of the Masnawi of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi. And this commentary is written by Hazrat Maulana Shah Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib. So we will do this Shah Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib. He is well known, he was well known, and he is still well known to so many of us in the Islamic world. Recently, Maulana from South Africa came. Maulana, what's his name? Abdul Hamid, this was his sheikh. Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar. So today, in this month of Ramadan, in this Asr time, where we are remembering and eulogizing Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad, which is perfectly jaiz. In fact, it is mustahab to speak about our mashayikh and our elders. In fact, Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Mutala Damat Barakatum tells us, Tanzilur Rahmah in the Dhikril Abrar. When you begin to speak about the pious and the righteous ones, then the rahmat of Allah starts to fall. Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib. Here is written Damat Barakatum, but now we have to say Nawwarallahu marqadahu wa nafana bi ulumihim ameen. It's a glittering star amongst the walis of Allah. Hazrat Maulana, his heart is brimming with the love of Allah Ta'ala and his beloved Rasul Sayyiduna Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Readers of Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib's writings and listeners of his speeches are in reality drinking from the three fountains of knowledge, sincere love for Allah and his beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. These three great spiritual fountains are Hazrat Maulana Shah Abdul Ghani Sahib Rahimahullah, Hazrat Maulana Shah Muhammad Ahmad Sahib Rahimahullah, and Hazrat Maulana Shah Abrarul Haq Sahib Rahimahullah of India, in whose company Hazrat spent many years of his life and received khilafat from them. I remember Hazrat Maulana Shah Abrarul Haq from Hardoi in India. He came to our madrasa and he had quite a connection with Bari Hazrat of Bangalore. Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib Rahimahullah is the author of a large number of books on various subjects, but specializing in tasawwuf and the marifah of Allah Ta'ala. His commentary on the Masnawi Sharif of Maulana Rumi has been hailed by great ulama such as Maulana Yusuf bin Ori, Maulana Sheikh Zakaria, Maulana Manzoor Nomani, Maulana Shah Abrarul Haq, his own Sheikh, Rahmatullah alayhi majma'een. It has been hailed by them as a commentary, as a sharh, which ignites the love of Allah Ta'ala and which has deep effect on the hearts of the readers. He had thousands of murids, I have to use past tense, in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, America, England, Canada, South Africa, Reunion, and many other parts of the world. The spiritual benefit which is derived by those who spend time in his company, who had spent time in his company, sincerely desiring Islah and reformation, is clearly evident in their transformed lifestyles. The fact that great ulama and many ustads of hadith and tafsir, who are themselves of a high spiritual rank, they took bayat and became bayat upon his hands, is a clear indication of his esteemed rank and profound knowledge of deen. Hazrat Maulana Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib, Rahimahullah, his visit to South Africa and many other countries of the world was spiritually most rejuvenating to both the young and the old, who had flocked in large numbers to hear his inspiring talks on various subjects. The basic theme of his talks has always been the development of the love of the Creator and Sustainer, Almighty Allah, in the hearts. The following of the beautiful lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sunnah, the fulfillment of huququllah and the fulfillment of huququl ibad, rights of the creation, and abstinence from all sins, which is a guaranteed prescription of becoming a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month of Ramadan convey our salams to Hazrat Maulana Hakim Akhtar Sahib, rahmatullah alayhi, wa nawwar Allahu marqadahu wa nafa'ana bi ulumihim, ameen. And just to know who are the mashayikh who have given letters of commendation for this Ma'arif Masnawi, this commentary on the Masnawi Sharif. We have letters of commendation by Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Muhammad Zakaria, rahmatullah alayhi, Maulana Shabrar al-Haq, rahmatullah alayhi, Maulana Mufti Muhammad Shafi, Mufti Azam of Pakistan, rahmatullah alayhi, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Yusuf bin Ori, rahmatullah alayhi, Maulana Mufti Wali Hassan Tonki, rahmatullah alayhi, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Hay, rahmatullah alayhi, who was a Caliph of Maulana Thanwi, rahmatullah alayhima. Hazrat Maulana Mufti Rashid Ahmad Ludhianawi, rahmatullah alayhi. Hazrat Maulana Zafar Ahmad Usmani. I don't know, is he still alive? Rahmatullah alayhi. Hazrat Maulana Muhammadullah Sahib, Khalifa of Hakimul Ummah, rahmatullah alayhi. From Hazrat Maulana Athar Ali Sahib, Khalifa of Hakimul Ummah. Maulana Muhammad Abdullah Sahib, Mufti, Khairul Madaris of Multan. These are the mashayikh who have commended this book and praised this book, rahmatullah alayhi majma'een. So, we're back here again to the Masnawi. We are to the Ma'arif Masnawi. Ma'arif Masnawi, which is a Sharan commentary of the Masnawi. Introduction. I had great love, admiration and connection with Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, rahmatullah alayhi, and his Masnawi before I even reached the age of maturity. Later, Allah blessed me with such a sheikh who also happened to be a great lover of the Masnawi. I know Hazrat Maulana Zakaria was also a lover of the Masnawi. He would say the Masnawi is filled with burning love and lights the fire of love in the hearts of those who read it. It lights the fire of love. This sheikh, Maulana Abdul Ghani Pulpuri, rahmatullah alayhi, would teach the Masnawi daily to his class after Asr Salat. And he would present it in such a manner that it would create a vibration in the hearts of the listeners. I have acquired much spiritual blessings from the Masnawi and even in my other books like Marifat-e Ilahiyya. The blessings of the Masnawi are most glaring. Whenever I quoted some lines from the Masnawi to Hazrat Pulpuri rahmatullah alayhi and explained the meaning thereof in his presence, which I had been inspired with, he used to become very happy and tearful on hearing my expositions. One day, a strange condition came over me. I was sitting in his presence after Fajr Salat, and having sought his permission, began expounding a commentary on some Masnawi verses. Hazrat Pulpuri rahmatullah alayhi listened with great attention until 11 o'clock. That is, for 5 solid hours, he listened to my commentary on the Masnawi. During the reading, a strange emotional state overtook us. So much so that both Hazrat Pulpuri and I wept. The eye of the beloved too is in tears today. Oh, extreme sigh. Now, what is your view? Due to my heartfelt connections and love for the Masnawi. It had always been my wish that Allah Ta'ala should enable me to pen down the knowledge and the hikmah contained in the Masnawi in such a manner that the love for Allah and the longing for Him would also be created in the hearts of the readers. My duty will be to explain the love of Allah to all and sundry, and thereafter whosoever has been chosen for it and who is found befitting and suitable to receive this divine love will become influenced towards it, and it will become a sadaqah jariyah, an act of recurring reward for me. Having fallen madly in love, we will make all mankind mad from the mimbar. We will invite all towards thy love. All praise be to Allah. It is through the great bounty, blessings and du'as of both Hazrat Pulpuri and Hazrat Abrarul Haq, Rahmatul alayhima, that the preparation of Ma'arif Masnawi has been completed and has become a dawat towards love for Allah. All praise is due to Allah for that. Further, in the editing and revising of the manuscript of the Masnawi, of the Ma'arif Masnawi, Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Jamil Rahmatullah alayhi did an excellent piece of work. Hence I request the reader to make dua for me, for Maulana Jamil, our parents, our ustads, our mashayikh, our loved ones, and all those who assisted us, that Allah pardon us all, and that He accept this book as a means to our salvation. وَمَا ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِعَزِيزٍ. Allahumma ameen. Lastly, through Allah's grace, the author's book, Bahri Masnawi, which consists of couplets on the scale and rhyme of Maulana Rumi's Masnawi, has also become quite popular. It is printed at the back of this volume under the name of Masnawi Akhtar. Masnawi Akhtar. Our elders have shown a keen liking for these lines of poetry, as can be seen from the comments made by them. May Allah Ta'ala, through His grace and through the sadaqah of His beloved Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, accept this endeavor and enable this book to become a beneficial gift to the Muslim Ummah, and may He take it as sadaqah jariyah on my behalf. Allahumma ameen. A short biography of Maulana Rumi Rahmatullah alayhi. This was written, of course, by Maulana Muhammad Akhtar Sahib in the Khanqa Imdadiya Ashrafiyya, Gulshan Iqbal, Karachi, Pakistan. Maulana Rumi's name was Muhammad, and his title was Jalaluddin. So his name was Muhammad, his laqab Jalaluddin, but generally he became known as Maulana Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi. He was born in the town of Balkh in 604 Hijri and belonged to the family of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, subhanallah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. His father's name was Bahauddin ibn Hussein Balkhi. Muhammad Khwarizm Shah Balkhi was his maternal grandfather. In 610 Hijri, after Hijrah, Maulana's father Bahauddin left Balkh and settled in Nishapur. We go back into time. Let's go back into the golden days of the awliya and the walis. So Maulana's father in 610 left Balkh and settled in Nishapur. On arrival at Nishapur, his father Bahauddin took him to the famous saint Khwaja Fariduddin Attar. What a saint he was, Khwaja Fariduddin Attar, Rahmatullah alayhi. Maulana Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi, was then 6 years old at that time. So you must take our children to the awliya, even though they are 6 years, 5 years, take them in their presence. Khwaja Fariduddin Attar, Rahmatullah alayhi, gave them a copy of his Masnawi as a present and said to his father, "Do not be negligent of this able one. Do not be negligent of this able one," pointing to Maulana Rumi. "He will one day make his voice heard." Allahu Akbar. Kya kashf. And this was by Khwaja Fariduddin speaking to father. Don't be neglectful of this boy. He could see it. Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi acquired his initial instructions from his father. The father chose his most foremost student and murid to be a teacher and mentor to the young boy. And in this manner, Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi studied most of the branches of knowledge under this student who was known as Maulana Burhanuddin rahmatullah alayhi. At the age of 18 years, Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi got married at 18. And in that same year, he went with his father to settle in Konya. When Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi was 25 years old, his father passed away, Sheikh Bahauddin. Maulana then went to Syria, to Sham, for the sole purpose of completing his studies. For some time, Maulana Rumi stayed at the Madrasa Jalaluddin in Halb, in Aleppo, in Syria, where he also sought the spiritual guidance and blessings of Kamaluddin Adim rahmatullah alayhi. Thereafter, for 7 years, he went to study in Damascus. At Damascus, Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi studied all the madhahib of Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, Ilmul Kalam, about Aqidah and Aqaid, Fiqh, and acquired a good knowledge of all the differences of opinions in Dini matters. He was also highly qualified in philosophy and tasawwuf. After the death of his father, Sayyid Burhanuddin was also his mentor on the path of Tariqah for 9 years. So he was also, Sheikh Burhanuddin was his mentor in Tariqah also too. Thereafter, he spent the rest of his life in teaching and learning. That was the first phase. Second phase of Maulana Rumi's life, a complete transformation came over Maulana's life from the moment he came into contact with Hazrat Shamsi Tabriz. And this is what we should pay attention to. Sometimes we are alim, Maulvis, Maulanas, Muftis, scholars, and we have knowledge of the books. But love of Allah is a different thing. And when we know how long Maulana Rumi studied for and mastered all the sciences. But a complete transformation came over Maulana's life from the moment he came into contact with Hazrat Shamsut Tabriz, rahmatullah alayhi. What a great wali he was, the son of Tabriz. Shamsut Tabriz was from a pious family which belonged to the Ismaili sect. Ismaili sect. He left his family sectarian connections. He left his Khandan family sectarian connections. Shamsut Tabrizi acquired knowledge and became a murid of Baba Kamaluddin Jundi. Murid of Baba Kamaluddin Jundi, rahmatullah alayhi. Remember Hazrat's words, Tanzilur Rahmah in the Dhikril Abrar. In the company of the merchants, he used to travel around from place to place. Once, Shamsut Tabriz, rahmatullah alayhi, made a dua. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, grant me the companionship of such a companion who will be able to bear my company. Give me such suhbat. In reply to this dua of Shamsut Tabriz, the good news was given to him. Go to Rome, came the commandment. Go to Rome. He immediately set forth and soon reached Konya, where he arrived at a place of brass goods sellers. There was a platform whereupon the leaders always used to sit. It was at this place that the meeting between Maulana Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi, and Shamsut Tabriz took place, and from where their friendship and companionship commenced, and real love. I'm talking about the love which Allah speaks about in the verse, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. That love. From that day onwards, a complete change, from that day onwards, a complete change came over Maulana Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi, and the fire, the arg of divine love was kindled in his heart. He avoided sima, listening to musical renderings which used to take place sometimes. A remnants of that is part of the Qawwali that still goes on. He avoided sima, listening to the musical renderings like Qawwalis and stuff, etc. He also left teaching. What an ustad he was. But he left teaching. He left lecturing and giving of khutbahs. He left preaching. But he did not leave the company of Shamsut Tabriz even for a little while. Sometimes a person has to go into khalwat and isolation to come back out again. However, a great commotion took place in the town with the result that Shamsut Tabriz, Rahmatullah alayhi, secretly left for Damascus. This caused Maulana tremendous sadness. After some time, some people noticing Maulana's discomfort and uneasiness went to call Shamsut Tabriz back, Rahmatullah alayhi. But after staying for a short while, Shamsut Tabriz alayhi rahma again disappeared to an unknown destination. Although they searched and searched for him, he could not be found. Some historians, mu'arriqeen, are of the opinion that he had been shaheed, he had been martyred. After the disappearance of Shamsut Tabriz, Rahmatullah alayhi, Maulana Rumi suffered tremendous uneasiness, restlessness, and loneliness. It was during this troubled period that he once happened to pass by the shop of Salahuddin Zarqub, who was busy beating metal into thin leaves. At that moment, a strange condition came over Maulana Rumi. Salahuddin Zarqub did not stop beating the leaves, and thus many leaves were lost. Beating the metal into thin leaves. He did not stop beating the leaves, and thus many leaves were lost. Finally, Salahuddin allowed the shop to become squandered away, and he joined the company of Maulana Rumi. What intoxication he was in, subhanallah. He caught fire. Finally, Salahuddin Zarqub allowed the shop to become squandered away, and he joined the company of Maulana Rumi, alayhi rahma. In this manner, he spent 9 years with Maulana, 9 years of suhbat. Through this companionship, Maulana Rumi was greatly consoled after the death of his sheikh. In 664 AH, Salahuddin Zarqub passed away, and after his death, Maulana chose Husamuddin, as we were speaking about Husamuddin. He chose Husamuddin Chulpi, rahmatul alayh, from among his murids to be his companion for as long as he lived. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. Thereafter, Maulana consoled his heart through this new companionship. Maulana used to respect and honor Husamuddin to such an extent that people were under the impression that he was Maulana's spiritual guide. Wow. It was the thing that he was the sheikh. It was through the encouragement of Maulana Husamuddin, rahmatul alayh, that Maulana Rumi wrote the famous Masnawi Sharif, as was already explained. Maulana Rumi's sickness and death in 672 Hijri, a strong earthquake shook Konya, and for 40 days thereafter, the vibrations were experienced. Maulana used to say that the earth was hungry and wanted a morsel of food. A few days thereafter, Maulana became ill. Some very good physicians were called to treat him, but to no avail and without success. On Sunday, the 5th of Jamadus Sani, 672, at the time of sunset, Ghurub Shams, Maulana Jalaluddin, rahmatullah alayhi, passed away. The janaza left the next morning. Everybody from the king to the poorest soul accompanied the janaza of Maulana Rum. People were so emotional that they even broke the coffin in which the body was being transported for the sake of barakah. The janaza reached the graveyard by the evening. He died on Sunday. Next morning, janaza is proceeding for janaza. But the janaza reached the graveyard by the evening of the next morning. Sheikh Sadruddin, rahmatul alayhi, a murid of Sheikh Akbar Muhyiddin, rahmatul alayhi, together with his murids, also followed the janaza, Sheikh Akbar Muhyiddin. He was appointed to lead the funeral prayer, but as he stood ready to do so, he uttered a cry and fell unconscious. Thereafter, Qazi Sirajuddin, rahmatul alayhi, led the janaza salah. In accordance with the wasiyat and the will of Maulana Rumi, rahmatul alayhi, Hazrat Husamuddin, rahmatul alayhi, became the Khalifa after Maulana Rumi. Maulana left two sons, Alauddin Muhammad and Sultan Wala. In 684 Hijri, Hazrat Husamuddin also passed away, and the next appointed Khalifa was Sultan Wala. Maulana's writings. Among Maulana's writings is a compilation of his sayings under the title Fihi Ma Fihi. Then there is an anthology of 50,000 couplets, which many people mistakenly consider to be the work of Shamsi Tabriz. The third writing of Maulana is the Masnawi, through which Maulana is kept alive today. Subhanallah. The Masnawi, through which Maulana Rumi is kept alive today in the world. It seems proper at this stage to just mention shortly some of the special features of this most famous work so as to have an insight into it. specialities of the Masnawi. Towards the end of the Ghaznawi Empire, Hakim Sinai Rahmatullah alayhi wrote a book, Hadika, which was the first book written on Tasawwuf in a poetic form. After that, Hazrat Fariduddin Attar Rahmatullah alayhi wrote many Masnawis, among which the most famous one was Mantiqut-Tayr, Mantiqut-Tayr, a bit transliteration here, Mantiqut-Tayr. One day, while Maulana Rumi Rahmatullah alayhi was in a special state of ecstasy, one day, while Maulana Rumi Rahmatullah alayhi was in a special state of ecstasy, he involuntarily uttered the first lines from the Masnawi. Gair ikhtiyari taur par, involuntarily uttered the first lines of the Masnawi. Husamuddin Chalpi Rahmatullah alayhi heard it and insisted that Maulana should continue with it and complete the Masnawi, complete it. The result was that 6 volumes were written, and that's the 6 volumes which we tried to do, but maybe next time. The result was that 6 volumes were written. During the period of writing, there were many lapses of time. Hence, we find quite a few couplets which were written wherein Husamuddin Chalpi Rahmatullah alayhi was the cause for it being written, as we saw yesterday and day before. In some volumes, Maulana had given a very good reason for the delay in writing, as for example, for quite some time, this Masnawi has been delayed. It takes time for blood to become milk. Until you are not blessed with another baby, the blood in the body of the mother would not transform into sweet milk. So he gives reason for the delay. For quite some time, look at the depth. For quite some time, this Masnawi has been delayed. It takes time for blood to become milk. Until you are not blessed with another baby, the blood in the body of the mother would not transform into sweet milk, which is hinting to us that the whole Masnawi was pure ilhami, inspirational. The Masnawi was commenced in 662 Hijri. The Masnawi was commenced. Writing style. When writing on academic and ethical matters, one way of writing is to discuss one specific masala. Another manner is to write a certain story and thereafter deduce from it various ilmi masail and provide explanation thereof. In this second manner, the benefit derived is that the topic under discussion settles in the mind, which does not become tired thereof. This is the style which Maulana has adopted in the writing of the Masnawi. Maulana himself says, Maulana Rumi himself says, oh brother, this story is like a shell, and the meaning in it is like a seed in the shell. Oh brother, the story is like a shell, and the meaning in it is like a seed in the shell. A grammarian said, indeed, Zaid hit Amr. This was to show the nominative case of Zaidun and the accusative case of Amran. Daraba Zaidun Amran. The student, looking at the outer meaning, objected and said, why did Zaid hit Amr without cause? Daraba Zaidun Amran. It was zulm. The teacher said, this sentence is only a container. This sentence is only a container for the meaning. Zarf. Just retain the grain. Adibai, just retain the grain and discard the shell. The tail, the sentence of Daraba Zaidun Amran, is constructed for explaining the case ending, what is Rafa, what is fa'il, what is maf'ul. If this tale is untrue, you should rather worry about the case ending. If this tale is untrue about daraba Zaidun Amran, if this tale is untrue, you should rather worry about the case ending, why Rafa and why Nasab. Of all the books written in Persian on this topic of tasawwuf and ethics, in no other book are such delicate and intricately sensitive issues mentioned. These issues abound in the Masnawi. The Masnawi is not only a book on tasawwuf and ethics, it also deals with dogma and metaphysics. Whether it deals with masail on tasawwuf or on matters of dogma, these are explained by way of examples, similes, metaphors, in such a manner that no ground is left for rejection. The most complicated masail are clarified in such a manner that they become easy to understand. Not a single masala of the important points pertaining to tasawwuf and ilmul kalam have been ignored. The Masnawi has been composed in ramal, a poetical method that is hexagon curtailed. Its singular scale and beat is fa'ilatun, fa'ilatun, fa'ilun twice. In this Masnawi, there is a musical nature in the words and letters used, a uniqueness in the expression and clarity in its measure. Apart from that, the spiritual blessings and the effect and the ecstatic feelings experienced in reading it is quite overwhelming. As we come to a close summary of the life of Jalaluddin Rumi rahmatullah alayh, the author Muhammad Jalaluddin, known as Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayh, was born at Balakh in the year 604 Hijri. He was the son of Sheikh Bahauddin Ibn Hussein Balki rahmatullah alayh. He was the grandchild of Muhammad Khwarizm Shah. At the age of 6, he departed from Balkh with his father. And at the age of 18, he got married at a place known as Larnad. In that same year, he settled in Konya, and at the age of 25, he went to Syria for the purpose of furthering his education. In 642 AH, he became a murid of Shamsud Tabriz in Konya. In 662 AH, he commenced the writing of the Masnawi. On Sunday, subhanallah, on Sunday the 5th, Jamadus Sani, 672, at the time of sunset, Ghurub Shams, Sheikh Jalaluddin Maulana Rumi passed away. He was buried in Konya at the age of 68 years. 68. He left behind 2 sons, Alauddin and Sultan Wala. That the Masnawi Sharif is an inspired version is hinted at in the following verse. Look at that. That the Masnawi Sharif is an inspired version, pure ilhami, is hinted at in the following verse, which is the last verse of the Masnawi. So something is being alluded to by this verse. It is the last verse of the Masnawi. When Sheikh Rumi said, when the sun went down through the horizon of the heart, the Masnawi ended. And only Allah knows best about the truth of the matter. When the sun went down through the horizon of the heart, the Masnawi ended with the sunset. And only Allah knows best about the truth of the matter, says Rumi. Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi says that the channel, what he is saying here, is that the channel through which the celestial hidden knowledges had been coming through, that spiritual sun has now, through the infinite wisdom of Allah, disappeared below the horizon of the heart. the ilham has stopped. In other words, manifestation change to the state of concealment. No more zuhur now. Now it is satr, concealment, as is either way experienced by the saintly ones who have recognized Allah. Either manifestation or either concealment. In fact, the state of concealment has some additional advantages. So when the sun of inspiration and ilham across the heart's outlet, when that sun of inspiration set below the horizon of the heart, this book came to an end. And Allah alone knows best what particular wisdom can be in a particular affair at a given time. And since Allah alone knows the wisdom and He acts accordingly, obviously the wisdom lies in that which He did. And therefore I would not pretend talking. I would not pretend talking. And further instead, I would terminate the Masnawi here, says Rumi. I will terminate the Masnawi here and not pretend talking. Hazrat Hakimul Ummah, Maulana Thanwi, Rahmatullah alayhi, has at this juncture written an important note that the friend of Allah, the wali of Allah, should always talk as the occasion and the time demands. That is when he is in the right mood. When the audience is attentive and the flow of the heavenly cognizance and marifat is natural with moderation, neither forcing himself nor being overpowered by emotions. With this state of mind, one should engage himself in benefiting the people there and then. That's so deep, which is an important advice for all of us, which Maulana Thanwi says, the wali of Allah should always talk as the occasion and the time demands. That is when he is in the right mood, when the audience is attentive and the flow of the heavenly marifat and cognizance is natural with moderation, neither forcing himself nor being overpowered by emotions. With this state of mind, one should engage himself in benefiting the people there and then. Hazrat Thanwi, Rahmatullah alayhi, was inspired by the following verse. When your beloved master orders you to speak, then speak, and speak with fervor and zeal. And if your master says no, then do not speak and observe total silence. Maulana Rumi, Rahmatullah alayhi, had foretold that after him shall come a light of soul who would complete this Masnawi, that is its sixth unfinished part, Dafta, which has been mentioned in the following verses. The commentary on this story remains unfinished, but the innermost has been closed, and nothing more is coming forth. Nothing more is coming forth now. The remainder of this story is going to be said speechlessly unto the heart of someone who would possess soul sight. And so it came to pass, accordingly, that man of sighted soul became Maulana Mufti Ilahi Baksh Kandalwi. Maulana Mufti Ilahi Baksh Kandalwi Rahmatullah alayhi, by the grace of Allah Ta'ala. And it was he who witnessed on his blessed soul the inspirations of the soul of Maulana Jalaluddin Rahmatullah alayhi, and was subsequently able to complete the Masnawi. As Maulana Mufti Kandalwi says, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi alayhi rahmah, through your illuminations, you have dominated my soul in such a manner that I lost my very existence, as if you were a lion of the Almighty Allah who has annihilated my very being. Mufti Sahib is trying to say that in accordance with Maulana Rumi's foretelling of the completion of the sixth part of the Masnawi, Maulana Rumi's holy soul, his holy Ruh, is busy inspiring my soul with divine guidance. Therefore, the pronouncements of my tongue would actually be the kalam and the speech of Maulana Rumi, rahmatullah alayh. Like a poet has said, although the Holy Quran has come through the Mubarak lip of the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whoever says it is not the word of Allah is a kafir. Although the Quran has come through the Mubarak lip of the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whoever says it's not the word of Allah is a kafir. Yes, it came through his lip, through the lip of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَمَا يَنْتِكُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. But whoever says it is not the word of Allah is a disbeliever. So too, from the lips of Mufti Sahib, Mufti Ilah Baksh, what's his name? Mufti Ilah Baksh Kandalwi. Through his lips the words are coming. But who says it's not from Maulana Rumi? Because of the contact of the souls in Alam-e Barzakh. Mufti Ilah Baksh Kandalwi rahmatullah alayh is the man. He is the man of the 12th century. Look how long afterwards. Allahu Akbar. He is the man of the 12th century. While Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayh lived in the 7th century. Mufti Ilahi Baksh had completed his Islamic studies under Shah Abdul Aziz ad-Dihlawi rahmatullah alayh. Congratulations, oh my desperate sigh. You are bringing the destination. You are bringing the destination, the manzil, union of Allah Ta'ala, closer and closer. We will stop here today. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruk wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun alal mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh I don't care. This is who I am, this is me.